Okay, here we are again, and we are going to be talking about our online learning module number 5, which is about retail store wait times. And remember, we skipped an online learning module that was number 4, which has to do with EDLP and high-low pricing. We'll come back to that later in the semester. But right now, we're going to go ahead and move on with online learning module number 5. That's retail store wait time. So there's about 5 or 6 articles or so in the online learning module folder, which you should take the time to read all of them very closely, particularly the article entitled Find the Best Checkout Line. That's the PDF article, and then also the article link to that appears in Psychology Today. Both of those articles are excellent articles and talk in detail about what the topic of our online learning module is, and that's essentially is retail wait times, but it's essentially queuing theory. Okay, to queue up means to line up and wait. Okay, and there is, in consumer research, there is an enormous amount of literature on queuing and the psychology behind queuing. That is, there's a lot of things going on when you go up to a line to check out in a retail store and you sit there and wait. Okay, the retailers over the years have this has been a problem for many years. Particularly as retail stores have gotten busier and the consumption culture has become more popular over the past 50 years. So it's very common now to go into a retail store and to encounter lines, okay, whether it's in a grocery store or Walmart or Chick-fil-A, okay, which I love, by the way. So when you go into stores, there's a lot of things going on in your head that you may not be consciously aware of. And what one of the purposes of this particular assignment is to kind of clue you into the psychology of queuing and to get you thinking about what retailers are doing to try and reduce the wait time. And it's all about perceived wait time. It's not about objective wait time. Of course, there's going to be a correlation there. If you wait in line for 30 minutes and you feel like you're going to feel like you've waited in line typically longer than 30 minutes, but there's always going to be a relationship. But it's the perceived wait time that really matters. Okay, so a couple of really simple examples. So when you get on to an elevator, okay, more often than not, there's going to be mirrors in that elevator, typically one full wall or the whole thing. One of the principles of psychology behind wait times is if you do things to reduce the perceived wait time, then people are going to be happier and more satisfied. So if you get into an elevator and you see a mirror, people have a tendency to like to look at themselves. Okay, what does that do as you're going up to your 47th floor, let's say? It distracts you, and you're looking at yourself and you're thinking about the clothing that you're wearing and your shoes, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you're at the 47th floor, and it went by what you felt, it went by very fast. Therefore, when you rate the hotel and they ask you about the speed of their elevators, you'll say they're pretty fast, even if they may not be. Okay, when you go into a retail store and wait in line, let's say Walmart. Okay, Walmart has been dealing with some wait time problems over the years. And oftentimes they have reacted by installing self-service checkouts, or they've installed additional lines to check out. And if you go into a typical super Walmart, you're going to see probably between 30 and 35 checkout lines. And what can be very frustrating is when you go in and the store is reasonably busy and there's only maybe 3 or 4 of those 35 checkout lines open. People notice that, and I think that's something that Walmart has overlooked in terms of when you have that type of capacity, people are going to say, well, geez, you've got 35 lanes, how come only 3 are open? So, Chick-fil-A, okay, Chick-fil-A often has been a pioneer in wait times. If you go to a Chick-fil-A on a Saturday, it's going to be pretty busy, okay, particularly the drive-through. So Chick-fil-A has started in recent years to have attendants walk up and down the drive-through lanes, okay, with iPads, taking orders. So you don't actually speak into a metal box now on Saturdays when it's really busy. You'll have a person come up to your window and take your order on the iPad, pay for it right there, and then you queue up in line, go around, you pick up. There'll be another guy there that gives you a receipt. You get your food. Then there'll be the Chick-fil-A sauce station on your way out where you can pick up Chick-fil-A sauces. So that process, that interactivity, anytime you have some type of activity while you're waiting in line, that can make the perceived wait seem a lot shorter. So that's a little bit of background. Okay, so this particular assignment is going to be dealing with, this is a team assignment. Okay, so what I want you to do is over the next week, I want you and your team to go visit a number of retail stores. And I would include, you can either go as a whole team or just go in pairs or even go individually. But at some point you come back together and you put all of your experiences into one team document, okay? And that team document, when you're all done, you'll upload that team document to your team folder, okay? So you're going to start by reading all of the articles in the online Module 5 folder. There's 3 articles that are linked and 2 PDFs. Take time and read those very closely. Then I want you to visit several retail stores in the coming 3 to 5 days, okay? You probably want to include your retail store, that is the retailer that you're doing your team project on. You probably want to include that, and maybe include one of its competitors, okay? It doesn't need to be special trips, just all I ask is when you go maybe to the grocery store or Whole Foods or whatever it may be, start paying attention to the wait time. Start paying attention to the lines, okay? So the specific questions that I want you to do as again over the next week is for the retailers you visit. I want you to describe the process for how people check out at that retailer, okay? And you might want to go, particularly if you're out on a weekend. The retail stores tend to be a little bit busier. You tend to get a little more insight if the retail store is very busy in terms of how they're handling the checkout lines. Pay attention to the things. After you read the articles, you're going to get some insight in terms of what retailers do to make the wait time seem less. Okay, so pay attention to those things. Look around. Look how the line is queued up. Can you see the cash registers from where you're at? Are there impulse items along the way, or are there magazines to distract your attention? Or in some cases, are there TVs? There is such a thing as the checkout channel. So see if there are things that the retailer is trying to do to make you think your wait time is shorter. Okay, and that includes specifically how the cash registers are set up. Is it one line per register, or is it one line that feeds into 5 registers, okay? And you'll see one of the articles that actually is a more efficient way to handle queuing. So describe the process that that retailer that you visited uses to check people out, okay? And if you're checking yourself out, try and record the time that you spend in line, okay? And maybe record a few thoughts, okay? And you can maybe use your mobile device to do that, okay? Or if you remember some things that you noticed, write them down later. And take a few pics if you can. Try not to get kicked out of the store, okay? And then based on the articles and your own experience, I want you to come together and as a team and identify things that your specific retailer can do to reduce the wait time, and things that have to be cost efficient. That's going to be the key. Is, you know, there's a zillion things you can do if money's no object, but that's not really the case. So always make sure that the things that you recommend are going to be very cost efficient, okay? And be very specific in your recommendations and tie your recommendations back to specific concepts mentioned in the articles, particularly the 2 articles that I mentioned earlier, Find the Best Checkout Line and the article linked in the Psychology Today website. And then when you are finished, go ahead and compile all of your experiences from your various visits that your team members did, and then put that into a single document and upload that to your team folder. And I'd like to have that done probably within a week, okay, maybe around November 1st or something like that, okay? And then we will talk about this in class. We should be, by the time we get there, we should be in the store design module, and that's going to be a really good discussion point, okay? So, so good luck and happy shopping, and hope you don't wait too long at your retail store, okay?